Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Sister Nadia A. McIntosh, Women's Affairs of Al Mumtahina Home Incorporated, safe haven for homeless Muslimas and women with or without children. This is our home. This is the entrance of our home. Our living room area. This is where we pray and receive our guests. MashaAllah. Everything you see here was donated to us throughout. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Team Taqwa from Colombia at Women's Affairs of Al Mumtahina Home, doing a painting project for us at the house. Alhamdulillah.
Okay, that's enough.
They'll be painting our hallway.
So,
They're getting everything together. This is Sister Amina. This is our dining area. We put everything down off the walls in order for them to paint this area here. They'll be painting our hallways, the hallway stairs. And also, one of the sisters' rooms, they'll be painting. We push everything in the middle of the room, and they'll be painting this room as well. This is the before pictures of everything. So inshallah, once they're done, we'll have the after pictures as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Fasted on the Mondays and Thursdays and the white days, 13, 14, and 15, so that's fine.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now they are in our living room area. Taqwa team from Colombia. Can you say your name real quick?
Hey, I'm Miriam.
Okay, alhamdulillah. May Allah reward them for helping us this way, mashallah. Alhamdulillah. Now our place is looking beautiful, clean. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is the after pictures of the painting project of the Taqwa team in Colombia. They've done such a beautiful work. This is what our upstairs hallway looks like. Going down the stairs. This is our dining area. how it looks now, nice and bright and beautiful. Our walls look better. MashaAllah, may Allah reward them for doing such great work. And this is the front hallway. Also look a lot brighter than before, as you can see. MashaAllah, they did a wonderful job. Everything looked really nice. May Allah reward them for their efforts and taking the time to assist us in making this home a clean and brighter place for the sisters to live. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm currently staying at the University of Al-Mustahina home. I've been here for about 6 or 7 months. Through this shelter, I have found employment, I have found stability, and I have been practicing to strengthen my deen, alhamdulillah, with the help of Sister Nadia and the other sisters that are here as well. Comfortable. We also help the community with food, clothing, and other miscellaneous things. I don't know, I'm at peace because before I came here, I was going from place to place with my family who was non-Islamic, and I didn't have a peace of mind. I needed to come somewhere where I was comfortable and I could practice my deen and get myself together, alhamdulillah. And it's working. Thank you, Sister Nadia. That's why I want to.
Khadija. I've been here at AMH Inc. for 5 months now. One of my goal is to gain employment and seek housing. Sister Nadia, the founder, is a wonderful person. She helps us, the women here, with things that we need to have. She gives us good advice, and she's helping me to strengthen my deen. I have 3 other sisters here with me, and I'm quite sure they all feel the same. I just want to do what is right by Allah, and praying that Allah keeps me on the Surat al-Mustaqim. Thanks to Sister Nadia, I'm learning a lot about my deen, and I think she's a very good person. Allah has blessed her with the shelter to help me and women like me. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Every room has its own door.
Sister Nadia, this is so nice.
This is the bathroom.
I picked out all the colors. You look colorful today, that's great. Y'all have to excuse me, I look like I'm half naked, I've been out digging in dirt. I usually don't wear
The picture of the backyard.
I thought I could sneak.
Assalamu alaikum. This is the table for the Eid, National Eid Henna, free Henna Day, to fill out the application here at Saida's grocery store. Okay, cover your faces, sister. Cover your faces. So Saida's grocery store. Let me see your hands. Put your hands out. These are the hands for the henna, free henna day, and at the same time they're filling out the application for the Eid. Alhamdulillah.
She really gonna I did a lot with this one, what's her name so far?
Alhamdulillah.
My hand.
Don't worry, I'm not going.
Which one? This one.
The sister doing the henna drawing on one of our signs. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is our new Phase 2 home. This is our living room. Everything you see here was donated by a family. Now we're going to our dining room area. It's empty right now, however, we will get tables for it. This is our kitchen area. Now we're going to go upstairs. This particular room here will be used for our sewing class. This is the room we're going to have our sewing classes in. This other room that we're entering will be the room that we will be using for our self-esteem classes, substance abuse classes, AA classes, and the other classes that we have listed. And of course, this is our restroom area. And it's got the view of our backyard. Inshallah ta'ala, you are welcome to visit us at any time and give us your support. Make dua that everything we plan is successful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The blue door is a New Faith 2 home. The burgundy door is our current shelter for homeless Muslims and women with or without children. MashaAllah, Allah has blessed us to get the next door place. Alhamdulillah. Our shelter is 321 South Pulaski Street. And the New Faith 2 home is 319 South Pulaski Street. The New Phase 2 home will be used for workshops, meetings, as listed on our website, sewing classes, substance abuse classes, AA meeting, Talim classes, and more. This room here will be our praying area. This is our kitchen, dining area. MashaAllah, everything you see here was donated to us. Alhamdulillah. Have a beautiful kitchen. We're opening the back door, show you the outside, the backyard area. Beautiful. Now we're going upstairs. Alhamdulillah. This particular room here will be our sewing class area. We have set up a few things. MashaAllah, in the next few days, if we can get some help, some brothers to help us to carry the heavy sewing machines, then we'll be able to place them here. However, classes begin Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. The sisters at the shelter will start with their sewing classes, including me. I need to learn how to sew as well. This particular room here will be used for our meetings. We haven't set up anything in it yet. Mashallah, Allah will bless us, and we'll get some chairs and maybe some tables so we can have our self-esteem, leadership classes, and so on. Inshallah ta'ala. Again, this is our bathroom. We need curtains for the windows, something that will match this. But mashallah, we're doing the best we can to make this place beautiful, so when our sisters and their families come here, they can concentrate on their recovery, their leadership classes, and so on. Mashallah. Jazakallahu khair for all of your support in the past and in the near future. We encourage that all of our donors, inshallah, if they live nearby, to come by and visit our home. On Sunday, May 16th, 2010, between the hours of 2 to 7 p.m., we're having a little open house celebration. We sit down and talk, pray together, eat, and inshallah, if you want to make a donation, alhamdulillah, it'll be greatly appreciated. And everything goes towards both of our homes in order to keep our doors open and keep our services continued for our sisters and their family. Inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
I know, but for real this time. Yeah, I know it's not been good, but they really said they're on the way. How come this still? It's still doing the same thing. So we're just going to show our people here. We're waiting for the van to come. We're waiting patiently so the van can come and we can have a good day of dignity. We've been here for at least an hour because it's about, I don't know, 1:30, maybe 12:30. We've been here for a minute, but people aren't giving us grief, alhamdulillah. So we're glad to have everyone's cooperation here at Women's Affairs of Al Mumtahina Home.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Women's Affairs of Al Mumtahina Home, shelter for homeless Muslim women and women with or without children. Every other Wednesday of each month, we serve the community a cooked meal, and we give them a bag of food as well for the rest of the week. Alhamdulillah, we have a couple of customers at this time. Inshallah, more will be coming. Here comes a couple of others. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Logan, say assalamu alaikum. Say. No, say Allahu Akbar.
My child is hot.
It's only the 2 days you can
He's
say.
so appreciated that he gets some hot meal.
Yeah, they should, especially since you cook it. I appreciate a hot meal from you.
Oh, you enjoyed the meal I cooked one day?
Oh,
Sunday?
God, that's so good.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and went, and then the girl said, you know, you're going to have to eat different things in Egypt. I said, okay, so I taste from it.
Hi, my name is Nicole Charles. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. I came here on the 20th of May this year to live with my mother. She sent for us, got green card, we got social security and everything. Living with her on the second week in July, or coming down to the end of July, she and my daughter had a falling out, and she put us out on the street. Me and my kids, she bring us up in court, she put us out on the street. We had was to sleep on the street for a week. We went to shelter, and the shelter was not nice. So my daughter, being a Muslim, get in contact with this shelter here at Pulaski Street, and we got in contact with Sister Nadia, and she asked her if we could come and stay here at the shelter if she had room at the time, and she said yes. And we have been here since then. The shelter is, I don't have a problem with the shelter. I don't have a problem with anybody at the shelter. My kids go to school. They now started school. And everything is okay. Praise the Lord for Sister Nadia and helping us. Otherwise, we would have no way to sleep. We would have been still on the street or go back to Trinidad.
Talk about social service.
I applied for social services, and at one time I was getting it for 2 months, and then they took it away from me because they say I have to be here 5 years before I could get any social service for me and my kids. So the only source of income I get is Sister Nadia help me and giving us food and stuff we need. And I would really like for anybody to help me in getting a job or place to stay, so things to be better for me and my kids.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Sister Nadia. The sister is looking for employment in order for her to get herself established. Inshallah, if you look at our website, you'll see her comment, and we're setting up a PayPal account for her. So if you want to donate, you can donate directly to her. Inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You have your loop?
Yeah, you can put it down, because you just want a little teeny loop to show right there, and you don't want something really big.
So you just squeeze this together?
Yeah, you know, squeeze it together with this flat nose. Use that one, but this one has fat. Yeah. You're gonna squeeze it as hard as you can. You don't want to break it, but you just want to squeeze it hard, because if it's not tight, it will come loose. Can you get it? Yeah, you got your loop. So you want to squeeze it. You want to squeeze it onto the.
You have to make it up.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Is Women's Affairs of Al Mutaina Home. This is the delivery of the food from Ed Reed of the Ravens and Glenn Eunice, his director of the Hurricane Foundation. They're delivering the food for us. We haven't set up yet. We'll set up about 1 o'clock. But this is the delivery of the food as promised. And we thank them very much. We're putting the food in the home right now. Inshallah, everything will go well.
Assalamu alaikum. This is our weekly food and clothing giveaway. We do every other week. Yeah, every 2 weeks. And there's a lot of people here today, as you can see.
I'm smiling. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Barakatuh wa barakatuh.
We got, what is it? Rice and chicken soup and, what is this? Oh, and some more rice. It smells good. Yeah. We also have clothes and hot tea over here. We have my little sister at the table. And we are serving hot tea to everyone who wants it. It's a lot of clothes that we put outside. And this is my mother, Sister Nadia. And this is what we do. So I come signing off. This is Narito. Sure. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Narito Leslie, Sister Nadia's daughter. Here we are at our annual food and clothes giveaway, and we have lots of people participating in our event, serving hot tea, giving away clothes and food. We do this every 2 weeks for the community around the shelter.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Valadia Payne, Kimari Muhammad. I've been homeless for a while, me and my family. We've been in Bandaminium. I found out certain resources about women's affairs. I've been here for about 2 months. In the 2 months, I have started going to business classes that they had for us at on Saturdays. Women's Affairs help us with that, to help us get our stuff up and started back on our feet. With the donations, we are able to have roof and board, food, clothing, whatever resources that we have to get. The donations are helping us with. I'd like to thank everyone who has been donating, because it helps us, me and my family, out a lot, because we are very much in need. And Assalamu alaikum. Can't think of nothing else.
Now it's recording. God. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Sister Nadia McIntosh. We're at Diakon Catherine's Closet picking up the delivery for laundry detergent. And alhamdulillah, this is the owner right here standing outside talking. This is one of the delivery guys that is helping us out. Brother Hakeem at Masjid Haq is also helping us. Inshallah ta'ala. This is another truck here. Brother Ibrahim is assisting us as well. And this is Catherine's Closet Warehouse. MashaAllah, they're a great help to the community in need. And this is their manager of the warehouse. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We are at the Women's Affairs of Al Mumtahina Home. unloading the detergents at the house. We'll set up outside. Inshallah ta'ala, in a few minutes the people will come out and we'll be able to distribute to those that need it most. And those are the poor of our community, the less fortunate, or even those that are working but need a little helping hand. God bless Diakon Catherine Closet for helping us to be able to do this for the people in the community. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is a blessing from Diakon Catherine Closet. The line is getting longer and longer by the minute. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll be able to serve everyone that are there. Inshallah. God bless Diakon Catherine Closet for us to be able to do this to help the community that are in need the most. This is the longest line we've had ever since. Thank you, Diakon Catherine Closet. May God bless you and give you more blessings to be able to help us this way. Assalamu alaikum.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicole Charles. I have been in the shelter for 1 year and some months. The shelter was good to me. Sister Nadia, the Women's Affair of AMH Inc. They helped me and my family go through what we have went through. They took us in when we had nowhere to go. We had nothing. And we are moving on now. I got a job. I'm getting my own place. So we are moving on. I just want to thank everybody who has helped me in the shelter and has helped the shelter. I just want to thank you all and praise the Lord that things can work out for me and my family now, that we can move on to a better place. We are in the need of furniture, anything you can assist in helping us on this moving, on this journey, this new home. We'll be thankful and helpful. Thank you very much and continue helping the shelter and giving. Thank you.
Okay, here.
This is Islamic Relief at Sakina Home. Women Affairs is at Sakina Home.
I don't think it's the white way at all.
Keep it on. Male.
She need a man.
It does have.
My name is Nasira Abdul Haq. I'm 21 and I'm here at Sister Nadia's Shelter for Women and Children. About 4 months ago I took my Shahada to become a Muslima. My family did not accept my religion, so they put me out on the street. I used to stay with my mother and she stayed out in Virginia. She didn't accept my religion or the way that I changed. So I went to Montgomery County to the ICM and Gaithersburg, and I asked for them for some help, for some assistance, and now I'm here. She came and got me from the ICM, and I'm here now with her. Right now I'm looking for some help for work, to try to get on my own 2 feet, try to build up an income so I can be able to get my own place and get out on my own. If anyone's willing to help me, inshallah, I appreciate it very much.
Assalamu alaikum. This is a video of my mother's annual soap giveaway. We have a very long line. We usually get to 100 to 300 people.
Assalamu alaikum. Hi, my name is Margaret Sister Neal. I'm a 43-year-old black female with 6 kids, 3 of whom still lives with me. I came to Baltimore 5 months ago due to some circumstances that I was having in Philadelphia. I went to the DSS building looking for assistance. Unfortunately, they really could not help me, so me and my kids were on the streets and living just from place to place. The young ladies that I do know told me about Sister Nadia's shelter, and I came to Sister Nadia's shelter, and I've been here now for about a month. And since I've been here, I've seen the struggle that Sister Nadia have with trying to keep the shelter going and helping the women in the house. Me with my 13-year-old daughter, my 5-year-old son, and my 6-month-old grandbaby, residing here with these other women. It's hard sometimes being in the house with a bunch of women and other kids, but it's shelter, and we do what we need to do with the help of Sister Nadia. It's a blessing to have someone to open up a home like this for women and kids. I'm asking if y'all can support her and keeping her shelter open, because it's a big need. It's a big need for shelters like this, because I mean, when I say there's nowhere for women and kids to go, and there's so many of them in the streets, the Muslims, the Christians, all of them. Like, I mean, I really hope that she can keep this shelter going. It needs a lot of support, you know, because it's hard sometimes when, like, the women in the house get down to, you know, the end of the month, because most of us are on fixed incomes. And by the time we get to the end of the month and stuff like that, like, we run out of, like, women's toiletries, cleaning supplies, house supplies, even food sometimes. Sister Nadia do help us, you know, with food when we don't have sometimes, but, you know, she's doing the best she can. She can't always, you know, give. Also with financial help. Sometimes we don't have the money to get to appointments, you know, and do different things. And I'm just asking if y'all can just support her, keep her shelter going, and help a lot of the women like myself that's trying to get back on their feet.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm here because my husband and I became homeless. It happened very fast. It happened like in a blink of an eye. We had a landlord that we had been paying rent to, that he was not a legal landlord. We were paying $800 a month plus gas and electric. We have been living there over a year. one day out of nowhere, a man we didn't know came into our home and said that he was the actual owner of our house and what were we doing there. So once that happened, my husband had just not too long before that been laid off. I'm currently pregnant. At that time I was like 5 months, and within a week and a half we found ourselves with nowhere to go. We did different shelters such as Cold Blue, such as, you know, day shelters. It was a struggle. So one day at Cold Blue, where my husband and I were staying, they had promised him a job, which I need to mention it didn't come through, but what did come through was a place for him at a different shelter where he could reside. So he went to that shelter and I stayed at the Cold Blue. I stayed at that Cold Blue, I guess, another week after my husband had left, and I went from that shelter to another program. That program basically put me out because they couldn't keep me because of my pregnancy. They did not want to be responsible in case I tripped, I fell, or things of that nature, and they put me out that day. That was a bit much because my husband had somewhere to stay, but I didn't. So within the same day, I stayed at the shelter where my husband was at for as long as I could, and I began walking. Well, he was going to walk me back to the Cold Blue, but upon walking back to the Cold Blue, I saw a sign, and it was a Muslim, the lady that runs it, Sister Nadia. It said shelter for Muslims and women with or without children. So I found the courage to knock on the door. When I knocked on the door, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know who would answer, but I was grateful that someone answered, and the lady that answered was Sister Nadia. I told her my situation, and I didn't know what had went on that day. She had also moved someone else in, but she told me to give her a call back around 5 that evening. Mind you, the time I saw her was maybe about 2. So my husband and I, we traveled on bus, you know, finding places to stay warm until 5. So when I called Sister Nadia back, she told me just to come on. She said, don't worry about anything, just come. At that moment, I felt so relieved. I felt as if it's unbearable. I can't even describe the words of what I felt, because I had so much worry on my mind. I didn't know where I was going to stay that night. I didn't know, you know, where my next meal was coming from. I just didn't know. And then to be separated from my husband, you know, as far as not being able to stay with him because it was a men's shelter, you know, and I was pregnant, that was a lot. So Sister Nadia opened her door, and that night I came in. Since I've been here, I have had so much more progress here than I actually had on my own with me and my husband. My husband mentally is getting better as far as his determination, as far as him wanting to do better for his family. He's a forklift driver, and remember I said that he had not too long got laid off before the situation happened. Now he's in a program where they're able to place him with a job, but he needs to get his license renewed. So we're in search of somebody that can renew the license so he can begin to take work at DC. I'm in my 7th month of pregnancy now, and I'm learning how to be a mother. This is my first child. Since I've been here, things have just been a blessing, a day at a time. I don't know what I would have done without Sister Nadia's help. I don't know where I would have been. I don't know where I would have gone. I just don't know. And I am just so grateful for her being here and doing the things that she does. She really needs, you know, extra help, especially with like the toiletries, the food, different things of that nature, because that's what keeps it going. And I'm not Muslim per se, but since I've been here, I'm learning about a religion that I had heard about but didn't know really what it meant. And I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very eager to learn more about the religion, because I'm telling you, you know, places of where I've been during this period of being homeless, you know, they didn't care. So I know it has to be something special behind being, you know, a Muslim, and being the work that she does. I know it comes from her faith and what she believes in. And I really, if I had my own, I would want to share it with the world, because places that I've been, they treated me like I was nothing, pregnant and all. And, you know, so I am definitely recommending Sister Nadia, and I want her business, her shelter, to be blessed and multiplied, because she truly is a blessing. For, I mean, because she took me in. She didn't know me from a bowl of beans. She didn't know where I had come from. She didn't know anything about me, and she opened her home to me. I don't know many people that would do that. You know, in my right mind, I probably wouldn't have done it to a complete stranger, but she did. So I'm just taking time to share with you the great things that have happened since I've been here. And I really would like for this to continue. If when Allah blesses me, I want to open up and do the same thing that Sister Nadia is doing. But we can only do this by helping each other.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm a surviving sister of domestic violence, and with the help of Sister Nadia and sisters, I became self-sufficient in a couple of weeks, about a month now. Being here, I've been able to accomplish a few things that I've been having trouble with since I've been homeless with my 2 children. We been staying, with friends. We're coming from another city, Philadelphia, so then we came to D.C. and then we stayed with a friend, and we couldn't stay no longer there. And I knew someone else who knew Sister Nadia from Masjid. She contacted Sister Nadia, and they talked, and they opened their doors to me and my 2 children, helped us, And since then, I was able to accomplish the things that I wasn't able to do while I was homeless because of domestic violence. Now that I've accomplished those goals that I have, I am now becoming self-sufficient, waiting for my own place. That will be, available soon. So, with the help of Sister Nadia and Noah.
Soulful Cozy's here.
Hi.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much. We just got here today, and thank you so much for the bunk beds. It's going to make it better for them to sleep. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
My name is Grace, and I have been a client of Women's Affairs for a month and 2 weeks now. This program has been very helpful to me in terms of providing a roof over myself and my unborn child's head. We have a roof over our head. We have been provided with food because I'm not eligible for food stamps at this time. The program has helped me a lot spiritually in terms of seeing and observing how I need to change my life and my lifestyle. I've been more modest in my dressing, more conservative in my speech, and among other things that I'm now taking note of myself that I never took before to try and improve my life. I'm very happy that a place like this was provided so that I could be there. We need a lot of assistance. We need financial assistance, we need clothing, we need food, we need, whatever resources that our donors are able to give, because it's utilized in the proper way. Nothing is misused or abused. We're all homeless women who are in need of help, and I'm 7 months pregnant. My baby's due in June, early June, so we're asking anyone who can donate. It's for a worthy cause. We have a time limit when we have to stay, get our lives together, and Sister Nadia helps us to do all that. With every resource she can find to help us, she does so very willingly, and she makes sure we give account for whatever we say, that we're going to do. The housing is very disciplined, which I really appreciate, because she's zero tolerance to any kind of foolishness, whether it be drugs, fitna, gossip, people not doing what they're supposed to do. She doesn't tolerate that. So this is the best housing for homeless women that I've ever been to.
Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings. My name is Aisha. I am a resident here at Women's Affairs with Sister Nadia. I've been in this program approximately 3 weeks now, and while attending this program, I also attend another program outside of here, which is helping me to get involved in learning to be able to be in my own housing and how to have structure and proper living. We're doing this video to ask for people to help us in our time of need to help keep this place open. But not just Mussolinas, but for any females that may need somewhere to stay and a stable home, and to help them to learn a few things that they may need to know. Sister Nadia has been nothing but a blessing to me, also to other residents, but I can only speak about me. We are in need of all kinds of supplies, housing supplies, for cleaning, personal supplies for the females, and we just need to try to keep this place open because it's a very good program, and some women don't have anywhere to go, or they have places to go and they're not wanted there, so we're trying to give them a place to go where they can be comfortable and be able to get on their feet and do what they need to do.
We do have rules and regulations that they must follow here. They're not hard rules to follow. They're very instructive rules to follow. And all she asks is that you follow the rules and try to do something with yourself. Peace and blessings. Thank you.
Aspects of faith. We have that faith, but we have choice. And, you know, and we're caused to make that choice every single day of our lives. Every single day we have to choose whether we're going to do things that are in submission to God's will, or do things according to societal norms, or do things according to what our friends and acquaintances or families are, you know, encouraging us to do or have taught us to do. Because in everybody's life at some point, you get your intellect should begin to operate on its own without the outside. And you begin to evaluate to see what it is that seems good to you and what seems bad to you and what seems like what you will choose and what you will not choose. Whether it's related to people, food, locations, you know, situations, jobs, whatever. You are making choices. So every day we're called to make this choice of whether we're going to do things according to the laws of God, or whether we're just going to let the laws of the society and the laws, not even laws, but the influence of other people decide what we're going to be and do. So but it is submission to the laws of God and the way of God that creates stability internally and externally. And that's something, you know, it's like gotta sort of think on it. And in each of us, we have to have inner stability, right? Peace innerly in our thoughts and our systems. You know, when your system is in turmoil, you might have heartburn, upset stomach, you know, your diabetes, your blood pressure, whatever. That's when your system is not stable. It's not working like it should work. Externally, you need that stability. You don't want chaos. Well, I do say there are people that function in chaos. There are some people that function in chaos. I say, and you know, but I say Arabs function in chaos. It's like, it just seems like the more chaos it is, the better they feel. You know, it's like, you know, I'm trying to create order, or we're trying to create order, and it's like, no, we don't want rules and stuff. We don't want to follow them. But anyway, there are people that function in chaos. There are some people that like it. There are some people that try to create it. You know, but it's order. The universal way is order. What Allah has created, He created in order. And you know, I mean, you just look at how things function. You know, and they're on cycles. They're on regular cycles. You know, day and night, and the seasons change, and the oceans have their way, and there's order. If there wasn't order, we wouldn't still be in this solar system. We'd be some other system out there in space somewhere, right? There's order. And so order is the natural law. And that's what, you know, we should be seeking to function on the natural law, because that's what creates it. So, when silm, which is really Islam, and Islam again means submission, when that's operating, then you have a stable and a stable environment. You have it in yourself. When you submit to the laws of God, you have inner stability. And when you're in a situation where people are in that state, when they are trying to submit, you have stability and order and peace around you. It's when you don't have it here. So each one of us has a character, a general character, and each one of us has a specific character. And that can be in terms of the whole universe is created to be in a state of submission to God. So each of us, everything in the universe has that as a general characteristic. And out of all the things that God has created, that Allah has created, you have the plants, the animals, the insects, the birds, humans and jinn and all of that. You have all of these things. And each one of them has their own characteristics. And then you can get down to individuals. And each of us, though we're human beings, we each have individual characteristics. That's what makes me, and you. That's individual. So, this is for our we have our general self and we have our specific self. Okay. So what is general about us? in terms of us being people, that Allah says in Surah 30, it says, "Faqim wajhaka lid-din hanifa." Set your face to the deen, being rightly guided, meaning come away from wrong, get on a right path, be rightly guided. Hanifa, fitratullahi allati fatara an-nas alayha, a nature, a pattern on which your Lord, Allah, has brought you into existence. We came into this world on a pattern. People call that our basic nature. And sometimes you may have to stop and think, what is my nature? What is my basic, what is the foundation of my existence? What is my basic nature? Because what it says, what he has brought the human being, or all humanity into existence on, and don't make changes in this creation. So we have a pattern, we have this basic nature, and when we're functioning on our real natural patterns, then we are healthy. And that is spiritually and physically and intellectually. Our minds are okay, our bodies are okay, and our spirit, our soul is okay. Because we're on the pattern that God intended us to be on. We're on that natural way. And when we don't, when we're not on it, we have inner chaos where we can't be at peace. We can have mental confusion, and we have spiritual disconnection more than anything, that we don't even possibly feel like we need to worship, because we're just disconnected. And you see, many people, you start talking about spiritual stuff, they don't want to hear it. They're ready to get away from you. Talk about going to some place to worship. They got something else to do. They don't have time. They just don't want to address that at all. It's almost like they either like it's crazy, or they think it's gonna make them something that they don't want to do. But when we defined stability last time, we said that it's something that when you're in a stable condition, you don't have fundamental or noticeable change. You're staying a certain way. That's what's stable. And what that does is it makes you feel secure. It makes you feel safe. It makes you feel confident and have that inner peace. But how can you tell? And what are things that you can do to test yourself, to see if you are, if what you're doing is according to your nature, according to the way that Allah or God wants you to be. We have the ability to study ourselves, and in fact we should. We have the ability to question ourselves, to ask ourselves, to talk to ourselves. Somebody says, don't talk to yourself because that's insanity. Well, sometimes you might be the only intelligent person in the room. But if we don't think within ourselves and ask ourselves questions about ourselves, and be honest even in what we're asking and answering about ourselves, we can be very misguided. If our only concept of ourselves is what comes back to us from other people, that can really be not honest. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's really not. Because a lot of times people are critical of you because they don't like you. What they really don't like is themselves, but they're jealous of you, or that thing of wanting to put you down so that they can feel better, that kind of thing. So a lot of times the information that you're getting from yourself, from the outside. And so when you do get it, the first thing to say is, first of all, let me be honest with myself. Is what they're saying true? And ask yourself, am I mean? Am I ugly? Am I dumb? Am I this? Am I this? Ask yourself and be honest with yourself. First of all, am I dumb? No, because Allah, God, did not create stupid people. Every human being has intellect. Am I not acting properly? Ask yourself. And if it's something that you're honest with yourself about, then you can correct that and try to get more on your pattern, on your nature. And so you can get peace with yourself. But if you only, listen to what everybody else says, then they can have you feeling totally upset and discontent with yourself. And maybe there's no reason to that. But be honest with yourself first. And if you have a person who's constantly criticizing you, and you have determined that something is wrong, because I don't see that in myself, and I don't feel that in myself, and that person keeps trying to bring me down, see if you can get away from them.
That is truly my life story. Always. People always try to, interject, actually, themselves.
Which is a common language.
It makes me feel inadequate. I've come a long way, a long way. I'm sorry.
Right, but what that can do to you if you absorb it is you begin to think that way about yourself and actually can begin acting in the description that somebody else put on you.
That's what I'm saying. Even growing up, I was always told these certain things. And then, when the law brings you back around, you're like, this is not me at all. You're this, you're that. That's not me at all. Not even by far.
I think it's a little hard sometimes, though. And I guess everything depends on the individual because, we're all different. Some people are really strong and sturdy, and they're hearing it, and they never accept it, and they're like, well, that person's just a liar, that person's just mean, and I'm not going to listen to any of that stuff. But they're not saying anything. They're just putting up that wall, like, okay, it can stop right here, but I'm not, I'm not going to absorb it. And they're living, and it's all out here. But for some people, they're softer, they're more vulnerable, they're more sensitive, and it's coming in. And it is hurting, and it's, and it's making them think low about themselves, giving them a low sense of self-esteem. And that's how they go out in the world. Some people go out, phew, I'm glad I got away from that, because, that's sure, I know I wasn't that. And other people go out and think that they are exactly that person that they've been told that they were all that time, I mean, you hear really sad stories all the time. I heard one recently, where, and people do things mostly because of who they are, not because of who you are. Mostly, I mean, sometimes, we do draw, but a lot of times people are acting out their own emotion and their own bad feelings, and they're acting it on someone else. This one mother, she would get in bad relationships, boyfriends or whatever, and when she would get treated bad, then she would take it out on her kids. Right? So one of the girls, she used to beat her a lot, and the girl never said anything. She said, her sister was telling me this, she said, my sister would just harden herself and just let my mother beat on her, and she really beat on her, and she said, and she would be crying, but she never screamed or yelled or tried to get away or anything. She would just harden herself and just let her mother beat on her. But what that did to her was it created a hatred for her mother, for one thing. And then a insecurity within herself, like, what's wrong with me that I would be treated that way by my own mother? And she became a drinker, she became an alcoholic, she became one who got in an abusive relationship herself. Because that was her life, and that was what she knew. That's what she knew? Yeah, that's what she knew, and that's what she ended up in. And her mother now is dead, and she still hates her mother. Her mother's been dead for a couple of years. To this day, she's hating her mother, and she's still drinking. So she never came out of that, and still does, and she doesn't understand. Her mother was reacting to something. It wasn't that her mother disliked her so much. Her mother really disliked the way she was being treated herself, but not being able, having the strength to do anything about how she was being treated. She took that anger and abuse that she was getting and took it and put it on to her children by abusing her children. And it's very sad because it has created a woman who is now quite a mature woman. I think she's close to 50 years old, who has never been able to function properly, and still is, handicapped emotionally, not physically, but handicapped emotionally. And there's a number of these situations. So you have to begin to know yourself, who you so that you don't tolerate it. Because this is the younger sister who was telling me this. The younger sister said, my mother would have beaten me too. She said, but when she tried to beat me, I grabbed her arms and said, you are not going to do this to me. You see what I'm talking about, how people are different? Look how one took it and reacted, and it's crippled her life. And this other one said, I grabbed her arms and I told her, you will not beat me like that, and if you try, I'm going to fight you back. That's what she, and so it didn't, so she was able now to have compassion for her. Because now she's in her 40s, she's almost mid-40s, and this other one is older. The older one is crippled, this younger one is functioning. You know, she's a parent, she's doing okay. And in trying to help her daughters be, you know, good people. She has 2 girls. So you have to know something about yourself. And what was it? What was the difference? One of them sort of accepted, I guess I deserve, not so much I deserve it, but I should accept this beating. And the other one saying, I shouldn't take this. I don't deserve it, and I'm not going to take it. But you have to know something about yourself. And the truth is, neither of them deserved it. Neither of them should have taken it. But one is confident that I shouldn't be treated like this, and the other one is just and not doing anything to fight back. So you have to know yourself, and because we are divine creations, and understanding who we are, being divine beings, helps us to understand who we're supposed, that Allah, God, a divine person, created us, that we have honor and dignity, and we have the right to be respected and honored. So if we know that, and that helps us also to know something about our Lord, that when we study ourselves, we get and understand that we are created by a divine being, and we therefore are results of divine creation. We get intellectually aware and have a spiritual desire, and this helps to create hope in our system, physically and mentally and spiritually on all levels. So there are laws that govern us, who we are, how we should function, and what levels of functioning and ways that we function that keep us in a good condition. So some of these laws, and so and I want to just start on, and maybe we'll get through one or maybe 2, but anyway. When we have disease, and this is a quote from a book, I'm going to read it exactly as it is. Disease is an effect of nature, well, an effort of nature, to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health. Now, disease, there's mental disease, right? There's spiritual disease, there's physical disease. So it says disease is an effort of nature to free our system from a condition that results from a violation of the laws. Violation of the laws. What are the laws of health? And what are the laws based on? Any law that is going to create health in the human body has to be based on the divine reality. The divine reality, because we are creation, we are divine creations. We are created from a supreme being. So any law that's going to create health has to honor and recognize that. So I can email this. This is actually on PowerPoint. If anybody wants it. We have that parrot, basic parrot we've been brought into this. So we have 3 major levels or areas of our existence. That is our spiritual self, our mental, intellectual self, and our physical self. So, and all of these are given to us by that one Creator. And he gave us all of this into, in this oneness that is ourself. Okay, so it says, and that's in the Quran, it's in Surah 40, and it says, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُم مِّن تُرَابٍ. He created you from dirt, dust. Turab. Halakakum Yisrael, and Thumma min nutfat, and the nutfat is when you mix the water with the earth to make it clay that can be shaped. This is the foundation of our existence. We're earth and water. Halakakum Yisrael, Thumma min nutfat, Thumma min halaqat. Then from this clot. So we have this mixture, and the clot is the embryo that starts to form inside the mothers as we develop. Then he brings you out as an infant. So then after that develops and all that happens inside of the womb, then we come out as human beings. Okay? وهو الذي أنشأكم brought you into existence. He gave you hearing and sight and hearing accident. Sanaya. So then you have senses. The ability to see and hear and feel with someone. So you have your senses. And all of this again is still in you. So you have your physical self, your emotional, sensitive self. You have also it says when I have you breathe into him of my root. So you have this root, this soul that is the spirit that gives you the spiritual aspect. And he gives you purpose. All of us have the same basic purpose, and that is the ibadah or the worship of the one creator. Everything, not humans, but everything that is created has that purpose of worshiping the one being created. Plants and trees and animals, all everything. So we have this holistic nature that we are not just physical beings. And we have to keep reminding ourselves of that because there are laws that govern all of us. And these aspects of ourselves have to be given attention so that we stay healthy. Because if we think that we can just go out here and act in this world as physical beings, just because that's what we think we look like just a physical being. If you look at somebody, they look like just a physical being. I mean, cats and walking around and, you know, you might see something else walking on 2 feet, like gorillas or whatever might walk on 2 feet.
My name is Lucia Johnson. It's my husband, Boyd Johnson. We're currently homeless. We were sleeping in abandoned homes and outside, wherever we could sleep at that night. We are actually new to this thing. We took our shahadas on August 16th, 2013. We were staying with one of my family members before we took our shahadas, but after we took our shahadas, it just went downhill. Like they started complaining about those stuff. Started with him, he had to get out, and it was me next. I had to get out.
Like she said, she's 3 months pregnant, so it's pretty much it's hard on her not being able to eat right and sleeping in abandoned homes, cold and everything.
I don't know, we're just asking for like bus or anything. Anything that can help us, you know. We actually went up to social services here in Baltimore, and that's when we got contact with Sister Nadia, and she, you know, she took us in and she helped us a lot. So we're actually very grateful that Allah placed her in our lives because she's helped us out a lot. She has tried to do all that she could do for us. We are currently in MSSA with that organization right now. We currently just asking for anything. You know, I gotta get to like doctor's appointments and stuff. It's kind of hard doing it with no bus money, so.
Bus fare, employment, help, like she said, bus fare for getting a WIC and all her pregnancy needs. And anything, toiletries, anything you guys can help us out with would be greatly appreciated.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sister Tahira, and we're here today passing out free boxes of vegetables to the community. This event is being sponsored by the Muslim Social Services Agency, and they continue to every year bless us with things to give to the community and for everyone to benefit. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to make this happen and to continue to touch more people for Islam.
For the Women's Affairs of the Henna Home, I am welcoming you on behalf of Sister Nadia McIntosh, who is the director of this shelter, and on behalf of the women and children who live in these shelter homes. There are several, there's more than one. And I also want to extend a welcome to you from the MSA of Johns Hopkins University for them allowing us or facilitating us to be in this building this evening. We always want to, inshallah, begin every Islamic event with a proper opening, and our Quran reciter has not arrived, but mashallah, and by the will of Allah, I did find a young man, Adib. I am calling, he's on the phone now, probably trying to talk to Abdurrahman. They evidently know each other. He's from the MSA here, and inshallah he will open for us. Adib?
Yeah.
Adib?
Highly know she does, dude. I thought she was remembering some DMC stuff. If not, then don't.
It's, you know, the thing is, Abdurrahman was also going to recite and also going to do the meaning. So I think what he wanted to do was have someone else to read the meaning of the Arabic that he will recite. So inshallah.
I appreciate everyone that's here supporting us in this situation. But anyway, I'm going to get started with this. I was homeless myself with my own 2 girls. You can Google me, you'll see our picture, homeless, and seeking help. Our story started in San Antonio, Texas. I'm trying not to talk too long because we don't have too much time. To make it brief, I did not get the help that we're doing out there now, helping the women. We went to our community and they turned us away. And yes, there is prejudice in Islam. And because I was African American, they did not help me. At that time, they called us American Muslims, so we don't follow Islam, the correct way. So I was denied help from them. But, you know, I prayed and cried to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He directed me to go back to that community that did not help me. And I made a stand, and that's how I got help from them. They called an African American brother that was back there. His name was Brother Muhammad. And he came out, and I showed him I'm in my car with my kids, Nadito and Jacinto. Anyway, he came out and went back in, came out with $150. And he said, don't come back because they will not help you. But anyway, I saw on the internet there was a program with Salvation Army for women like me and children, a transitional program, so I went to them. I was fairly new in this land, but very serious in it. When I got there, I saw in the application that they said that I would have to go to Bible study and things like that. So I questioned the director and I said, well, I can't do that, you know, because I believe that, you know, that will impose on me and what I'm doing and what I believe in. So she reassured me that I didn't have to do that. So we ate, and of course, you know, watching out for the pork and things, so I think we only had milk and fruit that night. And 6 o'clock, they announced it's time for Bible study. And of course, the ladies came and called me to come to Bible study. So I said, well, I thought we had that talk. And because of the person that I am, I know she's doing her job. So I said, well, I need to talk to your supervisor. So I think she did call her supervisor. I don't know because I never did talk to the supervisor, but she did. And she says, well, if you don't, then you have to leave. So I said, okay, I'm leaving. While I left, KSAT 12 News was there. They questioned me. I told them what happened, and I made national news at that time, and I didn't know I was in the news. My children and I were out there, we're going to the store, people were looking at us, well, that's them, but, you know, I was kind of militant at that time in my dean, so, you know, I was lashing at people, what you looking at, and you know, things like that. And it's the people that I was working for, and they were, I pray I can pronounce it, but they were schizophrenic. So they did not like going outside without me, but they were waiting for me outside because they saw me and my family in the news and offered their home for me to sleep there. At first I was going to do it, but then I changed my mind because of their disability. So I changed my mind. But anyway, they were there and greeting me and helped me. But at that time, people from all over the world were sending me rugs, money. One sister in the community saw me, her name is Sister Zakia. We're still friends today in San Antonio. She went to the very Muslim community that turned me down, went to them, opened a home. It invited me in her home. We stayed there for a month. She didn't know me, I didn't know her. Then she opened a shelter, but she went to the community and struggling, asking them, all she needed was $6,000 and they wouldn't give it to her. So she quit going to school and went out and got her GI Bill, and that's how the shelter started operating there. But I saw that she was struggling, so I knew how to talk to people and get things done, and I was doing that, going to different meetings, talking about my story and stuff, and I helped her collect money so she can do what she was trying to do. But she was getting tired, so I said, well, I gotta get married. You know, so I rushed into marriage for the wrong reason, which didn't last long, maybe for a year, and moved on. But little did I know that the struggle that I was going through is to do this, that I'm doing right now. And you know, these women, when I got married to a husband, I'm married now for 8 years. In here, this particular masjid had sisters in it, sleeping. And some of them was being kicked out, but the men could stay. sisters, we're talking about the sisters that were homeless, but in a fun way, not in a caring way. Today, that particular sister that we were talking about, she passed away a few years ago. I didn't know about it until last year. The brother that was helping her saw me. I was passing out food and stuff, and told me that she passed away. And take it easy on me. And this is how I started doing this through her. I called my husband and I said, well, there's a sister homeless, and she needs a shower, she needs somewhere to sleep and everything. And I did whisper in her ear, I said, don't worry, you won't be with me for a minute. He don't know it, but I'll work it. She stayed with me for a while, married an African brother, and then she moved on. After that, we lost track of one another. And other people were coming, other people was being homeless. We started opening a store, helping sisters that needed simple things that the masjid would make them fill out an application for, medicine, diapers, little something that they can just go in their pocket and give to them and put them through stress. So we opened a little store, and that little store was to help them to do those kind of things. If they needed it, we gifted them. If we felt that they were going to go left field, we would go with them and make sure they have the things that they need for their family and themselves. I had another sister in the community that heard that the things that we were doing. She was helping me help women to pay their rent. So she would come to me and trust me with her money, give me the money, and I go and make sure the rent was paid, give her the receipt and things like that. But more sisters was getting homeless, and the more sisters that were getting homeless, the more the masjid would kick them out, wouldn't let them stay and let them sleep, but the men would stay. So Allah put it in my heart to struggle. My husband almost divorced me because I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the meetings, the community meetings. But I said, okay, go ahead, divorce me, I'm going anyway. You know, because I have to go, I can't sleep, I gotta go. He's still here. He's still here today. That day, the imam, he had a key from a brother that had a house. And he told the brothers, this key is for, we have a key for you, brothers. I said, no, this is my key. So I had to throw the book of Allah on him, well, word-wise. You are, you know, men are the women protector. You know, you're supposed to take care of it. I don't have to be your wife to take care of us. I'm a very shy person, but when I'm angry, I'm not. So, that's how I got the first shelter. Yes, I went through a lot of struggle, a lot of fitna, still going through it. But I'm still standing. Why? Because believers like you are here supporting me. Yeah, just now, I'm here. I have a masjid that called me and told me there's a sister that's homeless. He didn't know that I was here. So I told him, do what you can do for her. When I'm finished, I'll make sure she has somewhere to be. I'm the type of person, maybe it's from where I'm from, I don't know. Okay, or the way I was raised, but I'll make my living room a room. Just a few weeks ago, Sister Tahira was with me. Her husband and wife was homeless. I didn't have room for the husband. The family house that I had to put it into a house for women, because families does not get homeless a lot. Women, single women with children are getting homeless. So I didn't have space for him. So we took him to a particular masjid that we know we don't allow men to sleep there, but they denied him to stay because who are you, where you from, who you know, and things like that. This is your brother. He needs your help. Help him. So I took him in my own home. You'll see them on my video because I told you need to tell the story. Because nobody's going to tell, you know, or believe me just talking. This is why I do videos. I do videos for you to see the reality of what's really going on out there. I'm very, 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 very angry at the masjids out there. They'll call me, they'll call Muslimat Anisa, they'll call Hajj Women's Center. This is the shelter that Sister Jeanette was talking about that helps the Pakistani communities, helping them, and this is why they don't come out there. But if we dare come to them and ask them, look, we got bills to pay for the shelter. We're getting ready to get cut off. They put us through the ringer too. They make us feel like we're crooks, like we're telling a lie. The stories that this sister heard when she was with me trying to help me to get this thing together for us to get sponsors and things, which I wondered, I already told her what they were going to say, you know, but, you know, I'm crazy. I'm under litigation. I take the money, I take the clothes. She herself, she was in the shelter. Sister Tahir, she was in the shelter, and she heard some awful things about me. When she met me, because I went to this masjid, and everybody, oh, Sister Nadia, I need this, Sister Nadia, I need that. Do you know this, do you know that? She turned around, she looked at me, and I saw that she was shocked. And then I gave her salam, because I saw she was looking at me. And she introduced herself, and she said, well, I heard a lot about you. I said, well, I hope it's good things. And then she said, no. And she told me what it was. I said, oh my God, they make me sound like I'm a demon. So I took her to my home. She knew one of the clients I had in there. We invited her over there. And she go, well, you do this, you do that. I said, well, what am I going to do with it? They gave it to me to give to the people. So why do I need to harbor it? For what? And that's how she became in my life and started helping me and doing the things that I need to do for the sake of Allah. It's not easy to help people. It's not easy to get help. It's a struggle. But I have an act to do that. Allah chose me to do that because I even out of Islam, I was doing things like that. I just traveled in Islam. But I do help everybody. Yes, my home was open originally for homeless Muslim women, families and their children. But how is it for for a non-Muslim to go down in their book, or on the phone book or website, and they see what I say I do, and if they come to me, and for me to tell them, oh, I can't help you because you're not Muslim, I can't do that. That's the same thing they were doing to me. And I was a Muslim, and the Muslim was doing that to me, my children. Still today, it hurts me. So when these women come to me, I know the struggle because I've been there. Domestic violence, I've been there. All sorts of domestic violence. And right now, some of the people in the community are domestically violating me by the way they do things. They're not being believers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you hear something, your job is to come to me and hear the other side of the story. That's the same way I run my house. It's not easy. Women live together, they don't like each other sometimes. They come to me and whisper, say things, but I run my house Islamically. No backbiting. What you tell me, you're going to get the chance to tell it in front of her. And then we'll solve the problem. We're here to ask for your support. MashaAllah, you came here and you help us. But there's other organization out there that needs help as well. Help them too. I'm not asking for everything. I do truly want for myself. How do I say it? Am I saying it the wrong way? I want for you what I want for myself. Yes, the sister is right. I had an opportunity. I was in trouble. At that time I was living in Buenos. It was beautiful, the house, the area, everything. I had big plans to make things happen there. But the people that was backing me up, they kind of stepped back. So now the bills, the landlord wanted me to pay some weird type of amount of money I know I couldn't afford because I'm not getting that kind of money. So I panicked and got a cheaper place and moved them out of that house. I lived upstairs, they were downstairs. So I moved them out of that place knowing that my family was going to be homeless again. But I didn't say anything to anybody. Maybe some people had some idea of what was really going on. I put them in a beautiful home. People kept saying, even then that I put there, why don't you move in there? I'll go somewhere else. I said, no, my job is to take care of you first. I know how to struggle. My family know how to do those things.
Tell me how to conduct my life and how to spend my money. The Prophet ﷺ replied, give regular charity out of your property, for truly, truly, it is a purifier. And be kind to your relatives and acknowledge the rights of the poor, the neighbors, and those in need who seek your help. And finally, the Quran says, they ask you, O Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what should they spend in charity? Say to them, whatever you spend with a good heart, give it to your parents, relatives, orphans, the helpless, the travelers. Whatever good you do, certainly God is aware of what you have done. So that is the religious context of our talk. Let me proceed, please. I want to give some examples of charity from those whom we claim to follow. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ. The best of them was Abu Bakr, whose nickname was what? As-Siddiq. Why was his name As-Siddiq? Why the Prophet give him that name? That wasn't his name. His name was Abu Bakr al-Quhafa. But the Prophet ﷺ gave him this name As-Siddiq. Why? Because he was a lover of the truth, and he manifested his love for the truth by his what? His support. Whenever the Prophet asked for anything or needed anything, Abu Bakr was there to give. And one time, Omar, another one of the Khalifas, the followers of the Prophet, he gave a huge amount of money. And he brought it to the Prophet and he was happy. He said to the Prophet, O Messenger of Allah, this is what I have given to match what Abu Bakr has given. And the Prophet said to Omar, O Omar, if you were to give this what you gave on a regular basis, you would not equal what Abu Bakr has given. So Umar had to step back. Because Abu Bakr gave all he had, everything he owned, to the Prophet one day. He said, O Messenger of Allah, may my whole family be ransomed for you. And he gave him, this is what I have to give. The Prophet says, what have you kept back for yourself and your family? What did Abu Bakr say? He said, Allah and his messenger. I mean, he held nothing back. The Prophet forced Abu Bakr to take something back. And from that, Abu Bakr raised more money. He was a wealthy man. He did that on 3 different occasions. For what? For the love of Allah, to relieve the pain and the suffering, and to make a gesture of faith. I want to give you an example of Uthman ibn Affan, who was the son-in-law of the Prophet ﷺ. In fact, Uthman was married to 2 of the daughters of the Prophet ﷺ from different mothers. He was called Dhun Nurayn. Dhun Nurayn means the owner of 2 lights. Those 2 lights mean that 2 of the Prophet's daughters. And when somebody asked the Prophet, O Messenger of Allah, why do you give Uthman 2 of your daughters? He said, Wallahi, if I had another daughter, I'd give her to Uthman also. That's how much the Prophet loved Uthman. So on one occasion, the Prophet was raising money, to go out in a rihla of jihad, to defend Islam. He didn't have no horses. He had no money. He didn't have no armor. He didn't have what he needed. And the people was all gathered like you gathered here, except they were sitting on the floor. And the Prophet was begging, he was asking. And some of the women was taking off their jewelry and throwing it out there. But the people, they didn't have no money. They really, because he had already been on some excursions and exhausted the money. So the Prophet was sitting with his head down. He was asking, but nobody was giving. So Uthman, who was a very wealthy Muslim, he said, "O Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wait." He went to his house, he come back with a bag of silver. He gave it to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was counting the money. And Uthman said, "Oh, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is that enough?" The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did not look up. What did that mean? Wasn't enough. Uthman said, "Okay, O Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just wait." He went to his house, and he come back with a big bag of gold. And he poured that gold in the lap of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ was counting that gold, and he looked up at Uthman, and he was smiling. What that meant? It was enough. See what the Prophet ﷺ said about Uthman. He says, today, after today, it doesn't even matter whatever Uthman has done, he's going to paradise. What was the reason? Uthman was a great man. He did many things. But the Prophet never said that. He did say, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَ, and that was about Uthman. But he never said what he said at that time. What he meant is that it doesn't matter. Whatever the history writes, and whatever mistake that Uthman might make, he's guaranteed paradise. Is that what he said? Because of what? Because of the giving. Let me give you the example of our mother Khadija, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, the mother of his children, who was a business lady that first she hired him. That's number one. The Prophet ﷺ's employer was a woman who became his wife. And she supported him throughout her life. Our mother Khadija. And let me give you another example. There was a Muslim who owned a very beautiful garden in Medina. When the Prophet made hijrah, that means he left from Mecca, he escaped from Mecca and he went to Medina, the first Islamic state. And when the Prophet was in Medina, he used to go across the street from his mosque and he used to rest in this garden, put his back up against a tree, and there was some nice water running there, and the garden was beautiful. And the Prophet he used to love that garden. The owner of that garden, he heard an ayah one day that Allah, he sent, a verse that God sent. Let me recite the ayah for you. He says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَن تَنَارُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُونَ مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You shall never attain righteousness until you spend out of that which you love. That's what Allah said. When that man, he heard that verse, and he know the Prophet ﷺ loved that garden, he came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, "Oh Prophet ﷺ, I own a lot of property in Medina, but the property that I love the most is that garden. So, oh Prophet ﷺ, I heard that verse that was recited today, and I'd like to give that garden to you." Think about it, brothers and sisters. Where is that garden today? That garden is now an extension of the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ in Medina today. La ilaha illallah. See the deal that man did. See that deal. Today, every year, more than 3 million, 5 million people is praying in that garden every year from all over the world. See the deal that that man did. And he gave that which he loved. Now you brothers and sisters got some stuff in your Gucci bags, you know what I'm saying, in your pockets today that you love. See if you want to make a deal like that. I mentioned that there are approximately 4,600 Islamic centers and masjids in North America, which is an indication that Muslims are willing to give sadaqah, but they're willing to give sadaqah to build or maintain a building. But Muslims are not willing to give sadaqah to build or maintain human beings. A mosque doesn't breathe. A mosque doesn't hurt. And if Muslims didn't have a mosque, they can pray on the ground. but human beings breathe. They need help. So Muslims should be more concerned about building human beings and maintaining human beings than they are about building mosques. However, and I mentioned that according to my research, there are between 185 to 200 Muslim women and some 115 Muslim children who are homeless right now in the city of Baltimore. Right now. You can't feel their pain, and you can't hear their voices, and you can't see their tears. You cannot imagine their suffering, psychological and other. But they're there. And there are only 2 organizations providing care and support for those Muslim women and their children. And ironically, the 2 organizations was established by Muslim sisters, not Muslim brothers. Although Allah said, "Ar-rijalu qawwamuna 'ala an-nisa." Allah, He said that men are the protectors and the providers of Muslim women. So why the Muslim men who established these masjids, why they didn't establish these organizations? And why are they not supporting these organizations? Because they're not real men. They're just biological men, that's all. In fact, let me take it a little bit further. This means that our sisters and their children are forced to go to public shelters, most of which are operated by Christians, who require, in many cases, their occupants, their residents, to join them in their religious observance. Now, I'm not saying anything bad. I'm not casting any aspersion upon Christian organizations, whether it be the Salvation Army, or whether it be the B'nai B'rith Society, or the Catholic Relief Services, or whoever they are. They have been doing this work for years, for decades. And God would judge and God will reward. But I'm saying, why should our Muslim sisters be subject to go there? And as a condition of being there, they have to join them in their religious observance. And if they don't join them in their religious observance, guess where our sisters wind up at? They wind up in the street. We shouldn't subject our sisters to that. A Muslim sister in the city of Baltimore or in the greater metropolitan area, she should just simply make a phone call and be driven to a mosque. And right there, that's it. Her rights should be taken care of. But that's not the case. Other sisters are forced to sleep on the floor of masjids. You know, sometimes every now and then, a masjid will open their doors and allow a sister to sleep on the floor. While the men of that mosque and the big willies, you know, the chairmen and the presidents and the scholars and all the brothers with the big turbans and beards and who talk to religion, they go home and they sleep in beautiful houses and apartments. But they will allow occasionally a sister to come in with her kids and sleep in the corner of the mosque on the floor. Or if a sister can't sleep on the floor of a masjid, she winds up in some public hallway or in the street, or she may go to the homes of some strangers where she's not safe from molestation, exposure to drugs, and other types of substance abuse. These are our sisters. This condition is a daily reality for these Muslim women, our sisters, and their children. And we are here this evening to address that condition. Let's not get it twisted. So anybody who came here to listen to a personality, you need to check out, like a hotel. This is checkout time, before the food is served. If you came here to hear a personality, you need to step off. Go back where you came from and wait for another personality to come, because tonight we came here to raise some money to address the condition of our sisters who's in a bad condition. We are here this evening to address that condition, to impact their lives, and support the Mumtahina Women's Shelter to assist those sisters in their struggle towards social and psychological stability. Now, I mentioned that there are some 65 or more Islamic centers and masjids in the metro area, and if they were to give just $5,000 a year, you know, if every mosque collected, did a fundraiser once a year, if every mosque did a fundraiser once a year and gave $5,000, that would be about $325,000 a year. And the two organizations in Baltimore who were set up to help these sisters, they could split that money. That's like $175,000 or $185,000 each, which is not enough, but that's a good start, isn't it? But guess what? Those masjids, they're not going to give it. They haven't given it. In actuality, we should not have to beg those mosques to do that, because it is the haqq, it is the right of those sisters to receive the money that we're just talking about. It is their haqq. It is their right. Because many of the Muslims who have established mosques, they came here to this country and they were homeless. They didn't have no money, they didn't have no jobs, they didn't have no homes, but this country gave them homes, jobs, food, education, safety, and gave them liberties that they could never have imagined in their own countries. But guess what? Once they got their green card, or their rainbow card, or their getaway card, or their passport, once they became Americans, it's like they forgot what this country gave to them. And guess what? Those homeless sisters and their children are taxpayers and contributed to those same people who came to this country as immigrants. So it's about giving back. It's about giving back. And every year, Muslims are supposed to pay zakat. Is that correct? Okay. So let's just say that of all the 8 million Muslims in America, only 1 million have zakatable wealth. That means only 1 million have wealth out of which they have to pay zakat, right? 1 million. And let us say that out of those 1 million Muslims, and some of you are here, your zakatable wealth, that means your wealth which zakat can be taken from it. Let's say it is only $200. So $200 from 1 million Muslims from zakat would be how much? 200 million. If you split that into 50 states, that would be 4 million a state. And if every state has 4 cities that you distribute that money, that would be 1 million for each city, just from the zakat of the Muslims. Can you understand that mathematics? But the Muslims, they ain't paying no zakat. Because, we now Americans. And those who do pay a little zakat, you know what they do? They send their zakat to Pakistan, Bangladesh, Egypt, Africa, Bosnia, Turkey, as if they have a right to take their zakat and send it where they want to send it to. They don't have the right to do that. It's haram. But since there ain't no Muslim governor to put them in check, they just do that. And these 65 mosques in the metro area, they also collect on the Eid, Zakat al-Fitr. Is that correct? And you will see 5,000 Muslims gathered over here, and 5,000 over here, and 3,000 over there in every city. So where does Zakat al-Fitr, where it goes to? It's supposed to come to these sisters. They're the ones that's out in the street. It doesn't reach them. More so than that, these sisters are grandmothers. Think about that. Some of these sisters in the street right now, they're grandmothers. Mothers, sisters, wives, and daughters of someone. So how would you feel if your grandmother, if your mother, your wife, your daughter, your sister was in the street or in a shelter? How would you feel? Man, you would feel bad. You wouldn't even want to tell nobody. You'd be about getting some money to save yourself from embarrassment. You'd be getting that money. So why these sisters don't get this money? You would spend anything and you would sacrifice anything to resolve that situation. And you know why these sisters are not given the same kind of thought? Let me just say it like it is. It's a fact that, and a very sad fact, that 85% or more of these sisters are African Americans. And because of the sophisticated racism within the Muslim communities, our sisters are passed over, they are neglected, and they are denied their rights as humans and members of the greater Muslim community. Now, I know some of our immigrant brothers and sisters and their leaders, they would not like me to say this, but so what? I said it. You don't have to invite me to come back no more because there's a whole lot of cities around the world I can go to. But the fact is, it is extremely rare to find an Arab woman, an Asian woman, or a Turkish woman and their children in a shelter or a homeless place. And ask these sisters who got these here homeless shelters, how many times they see an Arab sister in a shelter? How many times they see an Asian sister with her children in a shelter? It ain't gonna happen because if the brothers hear about it, it's their mother, their grandmother, and guess what? They're gonna get up out of that shelter quick. But if you go tell them some black sister is in the street, some shelter, you know the first thing they think? She must be a drug addict. She must be an ex-prostitute. She must be an alcoholic. It must be her fault that she's in that situation. That's how Muslims act because they want to justify their stinginess and their greediness. And that's unfortunate. This is because each ethnic group of the Muslims will give priority to their own people. And this is un-Islamic, this is unethical, and this is simply unfair. But that happens to be the facts. Now, brothers and sisters, we are here this evening to address this disparity and to address our collective obligation. And some Muslims may put forward their false justifications, but we know that before they even say it, it's false. These sisters, most of them, and I just want to give you the statistics, they said, and what I've read, that only 15% of the women that's in homeless shelters are victims of substance abuse or some kind of lifestyle like that. No. These women, 85% of them, they are victims of a declining economy in America. I met a sister yesterday in one of the houses. I don't want to mention her name. She's a professor. SubhanAllah. She's a professor. A wonderful, intelligent, clean woman. But she's a victim of the declining economy in America. Number two, they are victims of marital abuse. Men who abuse women and pass them off, move on. Or they are victims of a special set of circumstances that you and I may not know about. They need our help, and they need our support tonight. Brothers and sisters, the Mumtahina home needs $100,000. That's what they need to address their budget and their projects. And maybe some of you, when I say to you $100,000, maybe some of you, you need to take a sip of that water.